Appreciate it. Okay, good morning, good morning. And welcome to Boss Librarian PD. My name is Casey Boyd. I'm your host, and we are going to have a great time over in the next 4 days, learning and socializing with one another. So I am so excited that we are all here today, and I want to just jump right on in and let's talk about a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, let's share some love for school librarians representing United States, of course. We have a lot of people in here from the United States, but looking through the registration, what's so interesting is we have librarians that represent Canada, the U.S. Virgin Islands, England, and India. Yes. So we have a lot of international librarians that have joined us this morning. So I'm really excited about this. So welcome them, and of course in the chat. So we also want to share some love for our school librarians um, that are authors. We have a lot of authors that are going to be presenting over this weekend, next 4 days. And the cool thing is that they're all school librarians. So I'm really happy about that. So I'm looking forward to hearing those presentations, at least 5 authors that are visiting with us today. District leaders. We have a lot of district managers, district leaders that are joining us as well. We have the School Library Journal, School Librarians of the Year. I, along with at least 5 other School Librarians of the Year, including our current School Library Journal, School Librarian of the Year, Amanda Chacon, and she's going to be giving a presentation later today. University professors. We have a tremendous amount of university professors that specifically work in the areas of school librarianship. So please do not allow anyone to tell you that school librarianship is dead. It's not. We have university professors that are teaching the next generation of school librarians to come in and work with our young people. We have a lot of state library presidents. My president, the Maryland School Library Media Association president, Stacy Nunn, is here. I'm so happy that she, along with many other state library presidents, are joining us this morning. We also have ALA executive board members, some that are current. The current one is, of course, Dr. Corinthia Price, and our past librarians who served on the executive board that were school librarians were Ebony Henry and Kathy Carroll, who is the past president of AASL. We also have legislative advocates, Tom Bober, oh my goodness, from Missouri, all the great work that you're doing, trying to get things passed in the state, along with Dr. Steve Tatro. We have a lot of state legislative advocates that are here with us today. And of course, our social media influencers. We have a ton of them today. So you're going to enjoy hearing their presentations, not only today, but throughout the next 4 days. So let's talk about conduct and expectations. We have to do this because we want to ensure that this session is going to be a safe place for everyone. Boss Librarian PD is a safe, productive, and welcoming environment for all participants. All participants, including but not limited to attendees, speakers, volunteers, and all others, are expected to abide by kind and courteous behavior, whether verbal or written. Those who are unable to adhere to the above rules will be removed from the virtual space. So if we have someone in here that's talking political, or they're being nasty, mean, or they're saying something about one of our presenters or attendees, when I'm able to identify you, I'm going to put you out. because this is something that I don't stand for, and this is not what I promote. So I want to be very clear. If you can't cooperate, be nice, and play nice in the sandbox, you got to leave. So the clubhouse is made up of my friends that I made during COVID. We jumped on the clubhouse. We started talking every week. It was a way of connecting with one another, and we have continued these conversations every week, 7 p.m. on the clubhouse. And we just have a audio chat session. It's the clubhouse basically is like live podcasting. It's a lot of fun. And it's a way for us to start our week off on the right foot. So here you see Stacy Nunn going clockwise. You see Amanda Jones, then Christopher Stewart, myself, Dr. Steve Tatro, um, Amy Herman, who is also a podcaster as well, and we also have Stacy Nunn, who is one of our wonderful moderators for this platform. So we will resume September of 2024. So join us on the Clubhouse, okay? I would like to just say thank you so much to Bloomsbury, Demco, and especially Mac Kids, because they are responsible for the numerous amount of raffles that you're going to have an opportunity to take advantage of. Not only do we have book raffles, and we also have the beloved school library planner that Christina Holzweiss has created. We also have $25 gift cards from Amazon, courtesy of Mac Kids, which is also Macmillan Publications. So one of the reasons why I was really strict on registering and making sure that everybody was, legit, but it's also too to ensure that if somebody wins a prize and they must be present to win the prize at the end of the day, that we will be able to demonstrate that you registered for this event. Whenever I go to any of these vendors and ask them, can you support Boss Librarian PD? What is the first thing they're going to ask? First thing they're going to ask is, well, how many people registered last year? Well, last year we had 800 people that registered. And this is one of the reasons why we're able to get this wonderful support that we're having right now. But what is I'm sorry, I was looking at something, but what is important is that if we're able to give them accurate numbers, then that's how we're able to get the support. So this is the reason why we really want you guys to please, please, please register, and so you can participate for this in this activity of course, the raffles. All right, now our session descriptions can be found at tinyurl/boss librarian PD. You've been there already because you have already registered for this conference, so you should know that site. Many of you have been asking about the Certificate of Professional Development. Check back on the conference site on July 29th. By that time, I will hopefully have all of the forms up. And there was a question of, do you have to attend every session in order to get the form for the certificate of development? No. If you're only able to attend, for example, this morning's session, our spotlight session, and that's the only one that you could do because you might be going out of town, for example, it's okay. Whatever session you're able to attend, that's the session that we will that you can record on your form and turn into your district office. So you do not have to sit through all of the sessions for the entire duration of the program. You can select the sessions that you would like to count towards your professional development. Okay, so hopefully that will clear up any confusion. Okay, Zoom links will be sent. Zoom links have been sent to you already. I want you to keep this in mind that you will have a different Zoom link for each day. And that's for our own safety and protection. It's important that you check your email. I got a lot of emails saying, I never received anything. Check your spam, check check everywhere. You will find this email. If you're still having problems, you're welcome to email me, but please check first before you email me, because 9 times out of 10, it's in your email. You just have to search for it. The email is going to come from Zoom. Share your experience throughout this PD by using the hashtag Boss Librarian PD. Last year, several times, the hashtag was trending on X, formerly known as Twitter. So let's see if we can do this again. You know, they always say a lot about school librarians, but one thing we can do is we can make things trend on X. So special thanks to the Boss Librarian PD presenters. I want to be very clear. All the presenters do this free of charge. And we do this because we understand that in certain parts of the country, there is no professional development specifically in school districts for school librarians. And I'm also learning with some of our Caribbean attendees, they don't have it at all either. So this is a way of giving back to the field that's given so much to us. So we are giving these presentations out the goodness of our hearts. So keep this in mind and make sure that you use emojis. You go into the chat, you congratulate, you thank every single presenter that you hear today, because they're here on their own time. Again, special thanks to Literacy Nation, who's going to be giving out some free materials, Macmillan Children's Publishing Group, and of course, every library who has taught me so much. And I thank John Kraska and all the folks down there at every library, because they have taught me the importance of libraries and politics and how they intertwine. So if you have problems accessing the Zoom for any reason, you can go to tiny URL, Boss Librarian YT. Okay. Now, what is that? That's our YouTube channel. This is streaming on YouTube right now, where it's supposed to be. I'm going to double check and make sure that it is. This does not mean give this out to someone who did not register. Please do not do this, because this is how these knuckleheads come in and they create problems, and they're also making a lot of negative comments in the chat. So please do not share this link with anyone. This is only for registered attendees. If you have problems getting into Zoom for whatever reasons, you might want to make a screenshot of this. tinyurl.com, and this is case sensitive, capital Boss, capital Librarian, and YT for YouTube. Okay. So just want to make this real simple for you all, so you all can get in and enjoy everything that's being offered today. So on that note, I'm going to bring up our first set of presenters. This session is a little longer than the other sessions because it's 45 minutes, and we wanted to give Amanda and Lauren enough time to talk, as well as I really wanted them to, Amanda to have an opportunity to talk to the audience and not only talk to the audience, but give you an opportunity to ask her questions about the experience that she has had over the last year. And most importantly, how she has weathered the storm. I think that's the best way that we can explain it. And we all know Amanda has really weathered the storm this year. So I see Amanda, I see Lauren, their cameras are on. So I'm gonna mute you guys, and you guys can get started at any time. And let me put you guys on spotlight.
Love a good spotlight.
There we go.
Oh, now I got really big on the screen. Okay.
Yes, you did, because you're the star.
I scared myself.
That is funny. You look great.
Thank you. Hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
So real quick, I just want to introduce them. This is Lauren. Oh goodness, Lauren, let me remove the spotlight so I can pull Lauren up real quick.
I don't need no spotlight, girl.
No, everyone needs to see you. Okay. All right. So this is Lauren Mobley, and she is also our guru. She's the one that's created a lot of the graphics that you guys have experienced and seen all over social media. So Lauren has been a huge help to me because I can't do it all by myself. So I'm going to put Amanda back on spotlight, and I'm going to let them take it away. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. Take it away, guys.
Dual action.
Yay.
Side by side. Hi.
Hey.
Like we didn't already talk today. I'm so excited to be here. For those of you who don't know, Amanda Jones is an amazing school librarian. She's a 24-year educator, the past president of the Louisiana Association of School Libraries. She is the 2021 School Library Journal Librarian of the Year, and now she is a new author and an overall BA, just amazing. If you know what BA stands for, then you know. And I'm just Lauren.
No. I'm excited to be here and talk with you. I love talking with Lauren, and so just, I'm here to talk about anything and everything. If anybody wants to ask me questions, as long as they're not weird questions for haters.
Yeah, let's do it.
I have been bombed recently in some webinars and things. So, but we'll get into all that. So, you just ask away, Lauren, and let's just have a conversation. And good morning.
Well, I will be asking away. The audience questions, we're going to filter them in the chat because we keeping this under lock and key. Like Casey went over the expectations. We want to keep everything copacetic and friendly. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat, and then I will come back to them towards the end, like the last 15 minutes or so after our discussion, because I got some questions to get us started. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Lauren Mobley. I am a school librarian in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also on social as Mobley in the Mix. You can find me. I also have a podcast called Library Unlocked, and where you can hear my discussions with some amazing school librarians, and some of them are in this meeting I see. And I'm really excited that I'll actually be using this conversation with Amanda as our season 2 premiere. So stay tuned for that. And if you like podcasts, I definitely recommend checking that out. It's very laid back and fun. So Amanda, I've known you for a few years now. It feels like an eternity, but it's been a few years, and you are very instrumental in me becoming a school librarian. I remember that when I first started, you sent me a message through my website and was like, because I think I put on Twitter that I was looking for some diverse books and kind of build my collection, and you did not know me. And you said, hey, I've got all these leftover Jason Reynolds books. I'll send them to you. And I was like, okay, that'd be great. Like, I didn't realize librarians were so nice and welcoming until you did that. And you sent me this huge box. It must have been like 20, 30 books in there. This huge box. You sent it to my school of free books for my kids to have. And so, I've told you thank you for that a million times. And that's just a testament to how amazing you are and how generous you are that you would do that to a complete library stranger from Twitter. And how invested you are in librarianship and making this community of educators stronger. So thanks again for that. That's an anecdote about how amazing Amanda is, and really, puts into context how stupid and dumb and mean those bullies are in this book. So we can get to the book.
Look, it was my pleasure to send you that, because my philosophy is we're all better together. And if I have a resource that I can give, because people have given me resources along the way, and it's all about paying it forward. And we had that Jason Reynolds visit at my school, and they sent a book for every kid at my school plus every teacher, and there were still 50 more books. And I was like, who do I give these to? Because every kid at my school, an educator, had one. And I was like, how can I pay it forward? And then I saw you tweet that, and I was like, there we go.
Yeah, you definitely did. You definitely paid it forward. Jason Reynolds is a favorite at my school and a favorite in the world, and a favorite on my podcast. I feel like every episode, if you listen, Jason Reynolds comes up. Jason Reynolds comes up every episode, and Amanda Hunt, the next gen librarian, comes up every episode. So I'm keeping up with with the brand and the shout outs. But I'm really interested, Amanda, about you writing this book. Can you kind of start from the beginning? Like, what was it like writing this book? How did this opportunity come about? Because this is massive that you're able to take this traumatic experience and turn it into such a cathartic resource.
Yeah, I was very lucky. If you listen to what the haters say in my community, which I don't, they said I win the first library board. For people who don't know, I have been the target of extremists for over 2 years now, or about 2 years now, for speaking at a public library board meeting. And they are now saying, since I have a book deal, that I orchestrated the whole event. I didn't just show up as a resident speaker, I orchestrated it because I knew I was going to have a book deal. Y'all, being an author was never a part of the plan for me. I'm a reader. And what happened was, I think it's like a really great story, but I know this is not how it works for everybody. We Need Diverse Books does a book auction every year, and you can bid on like author visits, signed editions, but you can also bid on Zoom sessions with literary agents and authors and things. And I had bid on a literary agent Zoom because I wanted to learn what's the publishing industry like. How does that work? Because we know how we look at reviews and we order and we all that, but I didn't know how does the book come about. That's really why I bid on it, and because I wanted to help We Need Diverse Books for their auction. And I won the auction, and it was the best $75 I ever spent in my life. And I ended up Zooming. It was supposed to be a 30-minute Zoom with literary agent Sarah Fisk, and it turned into over an hour. Us just having a conversation, and they said, wait a minute, are you that librarian that's been in the news? I was like, oh yeah, that's me. And they said, oh, well, you probably have a story to tell. I was like, well, whatever, maybe. And then like 8 hours later, I got an email saying, hey, would you like to sign with the Tobias Literary Agency? And I was like, well, I'm not going to write a book. And they're like, it's free, just sign up. I was like, okay, you can be my agent. And then the next day or 2 days later, a senior editor from Bloomsbury, Anton Mueller, emailed me and said, hey, I just listened to you on the New York Times First Person podcast. Have you ever thought about writing a book about this? And I laughed. I was like, I am not an author. If any of you have ever read my Knowledge Quest blogs, I am not a writer. But I thought, well, I do have something to say. So, okay. And I said, well, as a matter of fact, I just got an agent, and I let them they were in contact, and then they presented me with an opportunity I couldn't pass up. And my therapist had been, because I'm very, when you are under attack from extremists, it's very important to go seek help. And I had a therapist, and she had me writing down my thoughts and feelings. And then a friend of mine named Bonnie had said, you should write a book. And I had these made up chapter titles in my head of like, if I had a book, what would my chapter titles be? So then I just ended up writing it, and it took about 4 months. I was in and out of the hospital for medical issues related to this and some other things from the harassment. And I took medical leave. So I wrote it while I was on medical leave. And as I was writing it, I have a very good friend, Tom, who I think is in this Zoom right now. And I would send a chapter to Tom and say, Tom, what do you think? Because Tom is an author, and he's written several books, and he's a brilliant writer. He is actually a brilliant writer. And Tom would say, oh, you're going too low. Or maybe, I remember you were had deeper thoughts on this issue or whatever I was writing about, and he would give me feedback, and I would kind of rewrite it before I ever sent it to my editor. And then we just went back and forth with my editor until there was a final book. And the ARCs came out, and I recorded my audiobook, finished recording the audiobook version last month. And on August 27th, I just got my box of books. I don't know if you can see it. You can't. But
kind of.
kind
Yeah,
of.
hold it right there. Then we can see it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so excited.
I'm lucky enough that I have, I got book blurbs from Nikki Grimes, Jodi Picoult, Oprah, Ellen Doe, Catherine Stewart. And it's gotten, yeah, I just was like excited that I had a book, you know, like, oh, I wrote a book. And it got 2-starred reviews. And like, this blows my mind. It's already got 2-starred reviews. And we have the book launch is going to be at my local independent bookstore, but it comes out on August 27th officially. Some people have already read the ARC. And what really, I wrote it, what it's about is about my personal experience being targeted by extremists. And I named them, they're Christian nationalists, white Christian nationalists specifically. But it goes in and out. It goes from what's happening to me to what's happening to other librarians. It talks about, it's an explainer. It's like a manual for people who aren't librarians to understand about collection development and how school and public libraries work, and it goes into the dark money and the things, everything is, it's like, it's all about me, but the larger picture at a whole. And then at the end, it's kind of like a how-to on what you can do to fight back against censorship in your own community. I'm very proud of it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I was going to say, you didn't just write a book, like you wrote a good book. Like this book is going to shake up the nation. And I'm so excited for when it comes out. You're going on world tour.
I guess I could say world tour because I am going to Canada.
Yes, international, honey.
It's international. I am going on, so I'm still a school librarian, and during the day, during the week, and mostly
That's
on
your day job.
Yes, my day job, but mostly on weekends. And I have special permission to take some unpaid days of leave in the fall. But from like the book launch till about December, I'll be gone almost every weekend. I'm going to Atlanta, the Decatur Book Festival. I'm going to DC, New York City, the public library with the Lions. I'm so excited about that. Mm-hmm. Sacramento. I'm going to Iowa City Book Festival, like all over the United States. I was very fortunate that Bloomsbury published it, but Macmillan picked up the marketing. So it's been, and then I met, and I'm not going to say who or what or how, but I met a very, very influential, famous figure this past weekend who asked if she could also promote my book. And then also Oprah's people.
Let's talk about the Oprah.
Well, Oprah, they contacted me and I'm, as of right now, I believe she's going to feature my book on her website. So
I'm freaking out.
So between that and the other influential person, I think it's going to do pretty well. But to me, it doesn't matter if it does. Obviously I want it to sell and I want people to read it, but what I really want out of this is for other librarians to read it. And if it's happened to them, to say, I am not alone and my feelings are valid. Mm-hmm. And this is happening to me. And this is what happened to Amanda. And if she can get through it, I can get through it. But I also want people like my parents who are conflicted politically on what they see in their own party, but with their child, and then they believe some things. And then my mom read it and it opened her eyes to some things and some things that she had to reckon with herself. And I don't want to get too deep into that, but and I hope it's for people that are in the middle to realize this is it should be a nonpartisan issue. Book banning should be something that we all are against. And so I read it for a lot of reasons, mainly for me though, to just get my feelings out. Yeah. And I would put on Lauren Daigle music, or I would put on the Sister Act soundtrack, Sister Act 2. I don't know why. And I would just type and type and type. And then sometimes I would be typing furiously, like, oh, these people, I hate them. And sometimes I would be crying with gratitude. Like when I wrote about KC, and about my library PLN, and I was just like writing with such gratitude. It's very cathartic.
I was going to ask about it because from the beginning, the very first chapter is just like you jump into the mess, like in the middle of the storm, and forget a slow burn. It's like drama and the pain. And how was it having to rehash that? And I feel like you're consistently rehashing it by promoting this book and talking about it over and over.
Yeah, the book opens up with one of my death threats. That's how it opens up. And I went to the Missouri Association of School Librarians conference, and I went to like a little writer's workshop with author Rob Sanders. And I was really taking notes on what he said about being an author and things. And he was like, you've got to just jump into things. And so that's how I started my book. I just jumped right into it. And the best compliment I had was from my best friend, who he has been my best friend we're 46. So most of my life, he grew up with me and my husband. And he said he was reading it in my voice and he could feel the pain, but he could feel the happiness, and he was laughing with me and crying with me. And to me, I think, okay, well, I did it justice then if he's feeling these things. But it's not hard to rehash anymore. What's sad about when you're attacked constantly, because in my community, I'm constantly being attacked. I'm still being attacked. You get desensitized to it. And so it just like rolls off now, which is sad to me, but I'm glad it just rolls off now. Now I still cry a lot, but now it's with gratitude. And it's awful cliche, or not awful, but it's like that old cliche that like when life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade. And I posted something the other day, I'm going to squeeze the mess out of that crap to make the best lemonade ever, because the best revenge is success, as Frank Sinatra said. So, and I spilled the tea. I talk about people in my community, and I didn't change. I changed one name because she was a friend of mine, and some things transpired after I wrote the book to where she has gotten I wish I had named her now. She deserves to be named at this point. She wrote a law in Louisiana that we defeated in the legislature this past session to give librarians 2 years hard labor in prison for attending an American Library Association conference. That is a former friend of mine, my former school board representative. I taught her child. I thought we were friends. And they were nicknaming it the Amanda Jones bill. We defeated it though. Like that, we worked so hard. We defeated the mess out of that bill. It was like a slaughter. but
that's ridiculous.
I wish I had named her now, but I put enough details. Everybody in my community will know who I'm talking about. And also a coworker, I talked about a coworker. We had a reckoning, and he was the only person. Another person I didn't name specifically. I didn't give him a false name. I just didn't name him specifically. And he's the only one that had to read the book for legal reasons and give the okay, only because when you're, there was an expectation of privacy in some of the conversations we had behind closed doors. And so, but everybody else, I didn't have to they keep saying, we're going to sue her for spilling the tea on us. And I'm like, I have screenshots and I have documentation. Don't mess with Librarian. I use Wakelet and curate every single mean tweet and screenshot and everything. I can back a team of lawyers went over my book with a fine-tooth comb. Everything I said is factual. And actually, I would love them to sue me, because the discovery part of that court case would be, because I've got all kinds of dirt on it.
It's just because I love that you put the screenshots in there. It's like, I got the receipts. And I'm going to show you
receipts. Yeah, and I used Wakelet to excuse me.
Shout out to Wakelet.
Yeah, and I have like a Wakelet board, and I have categories for every player in the game, and I have everything. And so, bring it if they want to sue me. Bring it. I would actually welcome it, because then I could put all their dirty laundry into public record. So I'm not going to be like them. Like, they post awful things about me, and people are like, why don't you go ahead and put that out on social media? I'm not going to be like them. I'm not trying to destroy anybody. I'm just telling my truth. I'm not out to destroy anybody's life. So I'm not. But if they want to bring a lawsuit. We can put it all on public record.
It's like you picked the right one.
Yeah, my
Oh
sister,
my
the very
gosh.
first, right when they started attacking me, and for people who don't know, what they did was they took a picture of me for my professional website. I went to the public library and I gave a speech on censorship. I didn't talk about a particular book. I just went and talked about censorship as a resident at the time, a 44-year resident of my community library card holder since I was 5. After they posted a picture of me and said that I was advocating the teaching of anal sex to 11-year-olds and that I was giving pornography and erotica to 6-year-olds. And I don't even have that age at my school. And that circulated around our community thousands and thousands of times. And I have been called names, groomer, pedo, death threats. It's been very awful. But my sister said, did they not know who they chose as their target? Because she's like, you'll die going down. You'll like seek out not retaliation, but I'll seek the truth and push out the truth and do what I have to do. And I will never back down, because what these people do, and if you're a librarian that's been targeted, you know, if you speak out against censorship, they will latch onto you. They'll harass you because they want to silence you. And I have a platform and I have privilege, and I knew, or I felt that I had a responsibility to stand up, not just for me, but for everybody else, because I am privileged. And I think when you do come from a position of privilege, as author Samira Ahmed said, you should use your power and privilege for purpose. And so that is what I'm doing. And I want to give a voice to people who can't. So.
That's one of my questions, actually.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to
What were
say,
you
I
gonna say?
always say that, but then like I had told author Ellen O, I was like, when I say that, I feel weird. Like I don't want to give like white savior vibes. like I don't want to be, but it's just a fact that not
It doesn't
everybody
give that.
is in a position to voice back, you know? So anyway, I don't know.
Well, so what do you say to those librarians who are kind of like, I don't want to put a target on my back. I don't have this platform. How do I defend my collection and move through my position confidently when there's another librarian who you quoted in the book who her husband was a lawyer. So, you know, when they don't have access to those resources and may not know, what things should they know? What is available for them to do?
I would get very familiar, and I'm going to rattle off a bunch of organizations.
Get your pens, people.
Yeah, get your pens ready. So I'm going to list websites and organizations that have resources for you. So first of all, every library has been amazing. They have resources. ALA, they have a Unite Against Book Bans, that there are resources, book resumes, all sorts of things. And I think ALA, I'm a Louisiana chapter counselor for ALA, and they were understaffed at the beginning of this, but now they've gotten more help, and they're pushing out some amazing resources for everybody. PEN America has a harassment guide. Everybody needs to read it. The National Coalition Against Censorship has resources. We Need Diverse Books. Those are like the larger organizations. But then if you look at, and then Freedom to Read Foundation, but then if you look at, there's specific states like the Texas Freedom Fighters or the Florida Freedom to Read project. And then you've got like Michigan Library Association has an excellent toolkit. If you want links to all of these, if you go to librarianjones.com, I have, it's under our, there's a link to a censorship toolkit that lists all of these that I just talked about. There's a Get Ready, Stay Ready toolkit that was created at University of South Carolina, I believe is where it originated. But even there are books out there that can help you. For instance, there's The Trouble in Censorville was just put out, and it has a lot of different librarians and educators and their stories about what happened to them and how they fought it. But I want to tell everybody there is a really good book coming out on September 17th called Say It Well, How to Find Your Voice. And it's written by Terry Zuplat, who is President Obama's former speechwriter. And he talks about, it's about his journey as a speechwriter for a president, but it talks about how to use your voice in your own community. And he highlights 10 different people, average everyday citizens who wrote a speech, gave a speech, and it changed the trajectory of their life. And I am one of he interviewed me.
interesting thing that's
But
happening.
it's a guide on how to speak out. But if you are scared to speak out, you don't have to speak out. Follow along. Like go to watch your school board. Watch your school board, look at your agendas and meetings, attend those online if you don't want to go in person, and just stay in the know. Because even if you can't be very vocal publicly, you can follow along and you can share the resources behind the scenes. Everybody can do something. And more importantly, vote, because all of these things are because of local elections, local school boards, local library boards, local governing authorities, and then state legislature. We combated, there was 8 anti-library bills, 9, technically 9, but 2 of them were the same, and only 1.5 passed. We created a huge grassroots alliance in Louisiana. I'm one of the founding members of the Louisiana Citizens Against Censorship, and we wrote over 44,000 emails to the Louisiana legislature.
Wow.
And we showed up.
44,000 emails.
Yes, and they even stated that in the legislative sessions. They were like in one committee hearing, they were like, I got 400 emails saying to vote no to this bill and only 2 for it. Your voice matters. So if you're scared to speak out, you can still email and you can still call. And they log that into record and they take that into consideration.
That makes me think of one of the quotes from your book. No, not at all. Not at all. This is a masterclass. But I love that you started each of your chapters with different quotes. And one of the quotes that we'll finish on is, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter," from Martin Luther King Jr. And what was your intention in putting, I love a book start with quotes. How did you find those quotes to start each chapter?
Some of those were just through the journey, for my therapist saying I needed to write down my feelings and my thoughts. I was coming across quotes as I was writing and looking things up just for myself before I even thought about writing a book. And there were just quotes that stood out to me, and I had them in the notes on my phone. And I had my chapter titles. Like one of my chapters is "Are You There, Michelle? It's Me, Amanda." And it's how to go high when the haters go so low. And it's my kind of like my homage to Michelle Obama, but also an homage to Judy Blume. And I dedicated my book to Judy and Michelle. And I also dedicated it to my parents and my husband and my daughter. And then I dedicated my book also to the librarians. I put "to the librarians" Invictus. But it was easy to find quotes. I love a good quote. And when I present, I love to use quotes. And I don't know. I just have in my notes app, all these quotes. I'm like, oh, that quote would go good with this chapter. But I thought it was really great. I love a book that starts out each chapter with quotes. And so it was not hard to find. I think my absolute favorite one is the last chapter. I give a quote by Little Edie from Grey Gardens about staunch characters. My parents raised me to be a staunch character. And it says, and of course the relatives didn't know that I was a staunch, my relatives knew I was, but it's all about being a staunch character. But I quote like Mia Farrow. I think I quote Beauty and the Beast at one point, like the mob song.
It's a good mix.
Like "Kill the Beast" is like how I felt. Like, I tried to, I think they took out my Tina Turner. I had a really good Tina Turner quote that I took out because you have to like get some of these things licensed.
Okay. I didn't know that on the back end.
Yeah, especially the Beauty and the Beast. I had a whole section on Beauty and the Beast, and they're like, "No, Disney will come after us." But it was my gratitude for what they said in Beauty and the Beast about how everybody dog piles on. I quoted The Crucible, like, because when I first started being targeted, it was like, I saw Goody Amanda with the banned book, and it's just the when my best friend read it, he goes, "I didn't realize how much of a targeted campaign there was against you." He's like, "I knew, but I didn't." And how unhinged these people are. Like, I spill it. Like, I lay it all out. Everything they do is just mind-boggling.
We're just so grateful for you doing this book, and we're so excited for you to share with the world in just next month. It's coming up. But I do want to give the audience opportunity to ask some questions. So you can put it in the chat if you have a question for Amanda. I'll scroll up while you guys get those new questions going. We have just a few minutes, so we probably can take a couple of questions. Let's see. Oh, from Muller. Eden Muller. Hey there, girl. Could you tell us more about legislation that they did not get passed? Were there any other pieces of legislation that were unsuccessful?
Yes, so we had 8, 9 bills if you look at it. The one that passed was where public library directors in Louisiana no longer have to have a master's in library science, and it was their way to go in and devalue our profession, or specifically in public libraries, because they want to install chaplains and pastors in these positions to an extremists. We've seen several library boards be taken over in Louisiana by extremists. And so that's how they go about installing these little extremist dictator people in over public libraries. The ones that failed, there was 3 criminalizations. One was public libraries and one was school librarians, where they, libraries are protected from libraries and museums are protected from obscenity laws. Not that we have obscene material, but we have things like art history with nudity, like the Statue of David. One of the some of the social studies standards that I teach are the Renaissance, and we take virtual field trips to the Sistine Chapel. Well, there's nudity. Had that passed, I could be arrested for obscenity, and that's ridiculous. We defeated those. We defeated the go to prison for going to an ALA conference. We defeated that.
Yeah.
There was somewhere it was like replace you could dismiss public library boards without cause. So if, in a sense, if someone didn't want to vote against banning books, that they could be replaced, things like that. And they were all but the one. There was a half of one. We say half because one bill, and I don't remember which bill it was so watered down. Oh, it was to take away civil service protections from public librarians. It was so watered down, it's obsolete and it doesn't matter anyway. And we have an extremist supermajority in the House and Senate and a dictator governor. And so it was, I don't know how we did it. Well, I'll tell you how we did it. It was through building coalitions. We built coalitions across the state, citizens, librarians. Look into ALA's One Voice ecosystem. Sarah Kelly Johns, Dorcas Haynes, they just wrote a book about it, and there's other authors. But every library talks about building coalitions, and it works. And you can't, when you're talking about book bans, even though book bans, they don't just want to ban books, they want to defund the whole library systems. They want to defund them. So they start with book bans and othering, but you can't, if you live where I live, where it's controlled by a super majority of extremists who don't care about human rights and empathy and other people, you have to, what you do is you have to hit them with the laws and the money. So like when we defeated the bill about the ALA bill, we hit them with the tourism. If ALA withdraws from New Orleans from their annual conference, New Orleans will lose $32 million in revenue from tourism industry. So we got the tourism department. ALA helped us link to the tourism department. Things like that. And every library helped us learn about the laws, and we hit them with, well, if you pass this, it's unconstitutional, and this is how much it's going to cost for the lawsuits and the legislation, so we hit them with that because they don't care about human empathy. But it was you have to get, and I don't want to be political, so what I'm going to say is this: you're seeing one party push the book banning, and it's not that party it's the extremism in that party. It's an extreme faction. And so what I tell people, my parents are in that party, and I say, well, you have to speak out against the extremists in your own community. And what we found in the legislatures was that we appealed to the people that are in that party with the common sense that realize it's a nonpartisan issue. And so it took both parties defeated those bills. Both parties did. It wasn't like one side defeated the other. All of the people in the middle worked together. The rational people worked together to defeat these bills, and that's how we did it.
Oh, that's good. I feel like the common sense is, I'll just say that. So one more question. I think we have time for one more question from Carissa Smith. What was the most useful advice your therapist gave you during the hateful bombardment? Thanks for that question,
Oh,
Carissa.
let me tell you. So at the very beginning,
Tell us, girl.
I talk about this in the book, and I was reading everything that they wrote about me, and I never wrote back because you don't get into it. They want to argue with you. And I was like,
Mm,
refresh. It was driving me literally nuts. And to the point of panic attacks. She said, stop looking at it. Stop. And I said, well, how will I know what they say? She said, who cares? Who cares? And she told me that. I stopped that day. I haven't looked at their stuff in over a year. And that was the turning point in my life where I stopped looking at it and I blocked them all and I don't let that hate in. And it transformed everything. You can't look at it. Now,
mm,
I also have somebody, because I am in an active court case against these people. I do have somebody
yeah.
that goes in for me and takes screenshots and curates all of this for me and gives it
Okay.
for my attorney so that I don't have to. So, but
Protect your
don't look at
peace.
it. Yeah, protect your peace. And sometimes well-meaning people will send me screenshots. Look what so-and-so is saying about you. And I say, I'm glad you brought that to my attention, but I don't need to know what they're saying. Um, but send it, you can send it to this person and they can put it in my wakelet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we
So,
can curate it.
yeah,
Because yeah,
curate it
going
for
back
me.
and forth in the comments is not doing anything.
No, that's what they want. They want you to argue with them. That's what my mother had a hard time. My mother wanted to defend me. And
Mm-hmm.
and let me tell you, I am very grateful for the people who defended me. And I know I saw Sherry Jones was in here earlier. And Sherry, girl, I love you. And Sherry defended me so much. She's in DC and she was coming into my local and I'm gonna cry. That's why I cry about the gratitude. And Sherry defended me. Sherry, I wrote about you because it didn't go unnoticed. So thank you. But
Sure, it's amazing to have good friends like that
it
and
is.
love like that. You're so loved. You're so loved.
And that's what I tell people. For every one death threat, I've gotten 1,000 positive messages. And I have a binder and I have students that are in their 30s and 20s and they contact me and I print those all out. And I have a huge binder and I got to get a bigger one. And it's funny, I get mail to my local public. I don't work at the public library, but I get mail at the public library. I get mail at my local bookstore. I get mail at my school. People were sending me flowers. My friend Alyssa
Mhm.
Melsina sent me a sugar cookie. It was like, I hope you have a good day. My friend Courtney Pentland sent me an emotional support pickle. And I try to do that now. Like I bought emotional support pickles in bulk. And now when I see somebody comment that they're having a bad day, I'm trying to do that because you want to pay it forward.
Mhm.
I'm so
I
grateful though
love
to
that.
everybody that's listening that's in this right now. There's so many of you. I couldn't even write about all of you. And I thank you. And you didn't go unnoticed. So thank you.
We thank you, Amanda, and we thank you for sharing your story, not just with us on this Boss Librarian PD, but with the world in this new book, That Librarian. Because you are that librarian.
That's why I called the book that because they once I sued them, that's how they're referring to me as that librarian. So I took it back. I took it back. So now they
Well,
don't use that term
I feel
anymore.
like it's got a positive connotation. Like she's that girl, she's that librarian, not that librarian, like that chick.
Well, and what I like to tell people is like we're all that librarian. We're all of us. All of us
Mhm.
are that librarian. Anybody fighting intellectual freedom and standing up for the kids and the authors and the stories, we're all that librarian. And they have Keen Bee Studios has a Etsy shop. She's the one that made the Freedom Fighter shirts in Texas. She has a That Librarian line. And so I tell people, if you're fighting intellectual freedom, go buy a Keen Bee That Librarian shirt because you're that librarian.
I love that. Let me get my that librarian shirt because I will rock it. We love the library shirts now.
Hey, and
We love a good
15%
library
goes to
shirt.
the Texas Library Association. 15% of those sales go to the Texas because I wanted to give back. And some people are like, why not Louisiana? And I'm like, yeah, I love Louisiana. That's my state. But Texas, early on, the Texas Freedom Fighters and the Texas Librarians really helped support me. And I want to give back
Mm.
to them. And I learned a lot from Carolyn Foote and Nancy Jo Lambert and Wendy Prey and Becky Calzada and Deb and all the people that are in Texas that sent me positive and told me, so I wanted to give back to Texas too.
I love that. All right. Casey told me overtime.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Casey.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no, you're fine. You're fine. She's fine, huh, Casey? We're good, right?
All right. Well, thanks everybody for letting me talk. And that librarian will be out on August 27th. And Casey's going to draw 5 names, and we're going to send 5 free copies out to attendees.
Oh,
Thank you, everybody.
awesome. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you,
Yes.
Lauren.
Thank you so much, ladies. And just like they had mentioned earlier, there is going to be a raffle. So what I'm going to do is put the raffle in the chat in just a second. And only thing you have to do is fill this out. Once you fill it out, we will have the raffle revealed at the end of the day. At the end of the day. So you must be present for the raffle to win. So here it is. I'm going to put it in the chat. So it's called Day 1 Raffle. While I'm doing that, a number of you are going into the chat saying, I didn't get Day 4. I'm asking that you do this because I will miss you if you keep putting it in the chat. I will miss your comments because I'm doing 6 things at one time. My email address is thebosslibrarian@gmail.com. If you send me an email, I could take care of everyone's concerns regarding missing links. No, I'm not going to put it in the chat because people will be too tempted to put it online. And then that's how the crazies come in here. And we want to make sure we protect everyone and make sure that everyone is safe. Okay. All right. Thank you so much again for your cooperation. And you can fill out the raffle information that's in the chat. And again, you have to be present to win a prize. It could be a $25 gift card, it could be books, or it could be Amanda's book, That Librarian, which is going to be autographed. It's an autographed copy of That Librarian. Okay, our next person that's up is Amanda Chacon. Let me find you on the list. There you are. Yeah, you guys help me out when you turn your camera on. Let's see. Let me find you.
I know there's a lot of people in here. Hi, everybody.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of folks in here. Let's see if I can unpin them and remove spotlight. And I'm going to let you just get going.